Senior guard, number 3, Marco Petrillo. At forward, he's a senior. He wears number 11, Jamario Carrillas. At guard, senior captain, number 22, Cam McDonough. And last, but certainly not least, at forward, senior tri-captain, number 33, Rob Wodkowski. Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, we ask that you please rise, remove your hats, turn your attention to the flag as we honor our country with the playing of the national anthem.
And welcome to Nolet Johnson Court here on this Friday night. Josh Brogan here alongside Joe Spadorsha. We're here for the varsity matchup to cap the evening. This is the final home game of the season for the Norwood Mustangs. Good to be with you, Joe.
Good to be with you as well, and I'm excited for this matchup.
Absolutely. This is a matchup, by the way, that is a rematch from last night's game because the Ashland Clockers hosted your Mustangs just a night ago. Certainly went in the direction of Norwood in that one. No reason to think they shouldn't have a strong start tonight like they did last night.
That's right, and yesterday also at this court, the girls team faced off against the Clockers and handled them pretty well.
Absolutely. All right, Kristen McDonald looking to push her team to 8-2 on the season. The Clockers, by the way, getting a very slow start to the year, as a lot of teams have with COVID. They're only 0-3 on the year. They only had their third game the other night. This one, their fourth. So really an unknown team, and talking to the coaching staff before this started, it's exactly what they indicated. They don't even really exactly know what they have from their guys, but we're hopefully going to find out tonight. Ball on the floor, turnover for the Mustangs to start. Clockers looking to push here with a quick three-pointer from the outside that is no good off the edge of the rim.
Clockers getting to it early from outside around the perimeter. That one no good.
That was a junior, Jake Rimza, with his first shot of the game. As you can see, all teams wearing masks. There are some fans in attendance tonight, some parents, so they can watch these boys play basketball. Shot good. If it goes, it does not. Cam McDonough trying to get involved. The senior has been leading this team all season long and doing a great job of it, Joe.
Yeah, it's actually he's my second cousin, so it's been good to follow him in his endeavors in basketball in the last 4 years.
Well, I think that's fantastic that he's your second cousin. Certainly a great guy as far as being a good teammate and a good leader as he makes his first free throw. I've been jinxing guys these past couple of weeks, by the way, on that first free throw with nobody underneath the basket. But I'm glad to see that Cam makes his first one there, and he makes his second. Putting the Mustangs ahead 2-0, a full court press to start here. Broken pretty easily by the Clockers. Pass on the inside goes off the knee of number 23, Dylan Drozek. Looking to add to some points here are the Mustangs as they push the ball around. So this is a TVL matchup. These teams are definitely not rivals, as the TVL is somewhat still new, Joe, but they'll be seeing a lot of each other over the next several years, so they might as well get used to it. As, by the way, we see Petrillo with the rebound. Nice to see the senior getting some time, and Mario Corellis with the two, forcing the issue here for Norwood off to a 4-0 lead.
good ball movement early on here from the Mustangs. It's another thing to keep an eye on, is they've been taking quite a bit of their time in the offensive zone.
As you pointed out to me, and worth pointing out if you're watching at home, the 5 starters for the Clockers, numbers 20, 21, 22, 23, and 24. If you're keeping score at home, it's nice and easy, and it's certainly easy on us tonight as Damari Daniels takes a deep three-pointer behind the line. That's no good. Clockers are going to look to push. We've already seen that just in these first minute 45 seconds. They want to move the ball, even if they don't have a whole lot of experience. That's a deep three-pointer, also no good, taken by number 20. That is Spencer Roth, one of the seniors on this team, and the ball out of bounds, and it goes back over to Norwood.
Josh, that's the second three-point attempt we've seen from the Clockers that really had no chance as soon as it left the hands.
And so what they're going to have to do to try to get another chance on that is to try to create a little bit of ball movement inside and not just be bombing threes all night. That's travel, I'm sure, right there. You can kind of hear that buzz. By the way, if you have not watched Norwood basketball this year, or any basketball for that matter on the prep level, that buzz is the new way to signal a turnover. The refs are not allowed to blow their whistles, obviously as part of the COVID protocol, so they actually have these hand buzzers. And I can tell you anecdotally, coaching 6th grade girls basketball, when there's many games going on at one time, it's hard to know where the buzzer's coming from and which game they want to stop. But it shouldn't be too hard tonight, given that there's one game on the court. And that's a good beat there by number 24. Certainly was able to get up and in. Nick Simpson for the first 2 for the Clockers.
I think that's one of the strengths that this Clocker teams have. They have pretty good size underneath the basket, and if the threes aren't working from outside in the perimeter, why not put it underneath?
I talked to their assistant coach earlier, just before the start. By the way, we get a foul here. Nick Simpson with the shot, but also picks up his first foul there. And he said to me, watch Nick Simpson. He's a lefty. He's big inside. He should be able to do some things inside. And certainly we just saw it. His prediction went the way he was hoping to right away. Daniels, by the way, looking for another 3. And nobody with the box out on Witkowski. So he's able to get a quick, easy 2 for himself there. 6-2 now, Mustangs.
Witkowski's another good player to look at for this Mustangs team as the Clockers drive and get the bucket. Witkowski has been described by Coach McDonald as tough. He's a tough kid. Took a year off from basketball, came back. He made the team because he's tough. And that's something that McDonald has enjoyed, and obviously it's been paying off for us thus far.
Yeah, and that steal right there, by the way, showing the aggressiveness that the Clockers plan to bring there. 24, by the way, made another basket before. And so we're seeing Nick Simpson try to emerge a little bit. Foul away from the ball on, looks like Robbie Witkowski's going to get one there. Yep, he's calling 33 with a, no, actually yes, it is on Robbie Witkowski, okay. Little confusion there from Daniels as to who is going to be inbounding the ball. You know, Ashland has nothing to lose in this game, and you give them a whole lot of credit for coming in and playing hard in these first couple minutes, trying to force the issue. Again, only their 4th game of the season, and yes, they're 0-3, and a couple of their games have not been that close. They played Holliston twice, as we see a miss and obviously an air ball on that shot by Simpson, but they've played Holliston twice and then just one game against Norwood. So, I mean, what do you say, Joe, to your team here? We're already in the beginning of February, approaching the middle of February, and they really just haven't played a lot of basketball. But yet it's important to get them motivated to play.
Right. I think the tough part about this year especially is keeping these guys motivated. You know, the MIAA did cancel the postseason, but, you know, you can have some hope as a three-pointer is good.
That's Noah Bodette getting heated up, that substitution.
You know, as I was saying, it is quite a difficult thing for these coaches to keep these players motivated without that MIAA postseason, but, you know, you're just happy to play at this point.
Nice dish inside. 21 misses the shot. 24 very active, by the way, on the boards. 21 is Devin Yules. You heard Coach McDonald say numbers. She was basically trying to get Damari Daniels to pass that ball. She knew that he had some people to pass to. He tried to take it himself, and it ended up not being the play they wanted to as he subs out. So some new bodies in there for the Mustangs. We're seeing Joey Steves for the first time tonight is in the game along with Noah Bodette. Those guys are underclassmen and give this team a lot of depth. Plus Matty Mahoney, number 10, is in there, a freshman. I like to call him a true freshman as if there's anything else really in high school. 22, nice jump stop, doesn't go. That could have been out of bounds, but they keep it in. And we got traveling on the floor is the call against number 15, who we're seeing for the first time for Ashland, the Clockers. That's Luke Herter with the travel. So turn back over to Norwood. They're in control. 9-4 right now. 2:55 to go in the first. It's the early going, of course, Joe, but what are you seeing from the Mustangs that you like so far?
In the offensive zone, again, they're just a lot of ball movement, taking their time, finding that extra man. You know, the exception being that last possession when Daniels found himself underneath the hoop with 3 clockers around him and didn't look for the open man. So, you know, if they can avoid doing things like that, you know, if there's 3 guys on you, there's got to be guys on your team who are open somewhere else.
That's absolutely true. Steve's, by the way, trying to create a little space there. Looked like it could have been a travel, but they actually called the foul on Ashland, which is a great result because he actually kept playing. Sometimes that happens, right? If you keep playing, you can almost convince the ref that I was still driving to the basket. I really didn't pick up my foot. I don't know whether I agree with that there, but that's okay. That's all right. He got the call, and that's a good thing for him. Number 4 in the game, by the way, Jeffrey Dollaway Jr. I'm going to guess he goes by Jeff, and there he is making his presence known right away. Number 4 for the Clockers. Looking for his teammates. They're trying to get some of their underclassmen in, some of their seniors to play. Dollaway is a senior. Moving it around there. Ball screen is called. It's amazing how much you can hear, by the way, without a lot of fans in here. You can almost hear Kristen's entire playbook. That's a nice fall-away shot there. Again, that's the 3rd basket for Nick Simpson. He now has 6 to lead the scorers for the Clockers. In fact, he has all the points for his
You mentioned
team.
the quiet gym. Timeouts are the weirdest thing that I've ever. You can hear both coaches' strategy the whole time. 3-point is up and good.
Bodette with a nice 3. He's really, by the way, shown a lot of range in addition to confidence. And looks like we got a timeout on the floor. A substitution.
Broken mask.
A broken mask.
Imagine.
A broken mask. Okay. Something we would not have said a year ago.
Yeah.
You know, the masks used to be, Joe, those when a guy would have like a broken nose, they'd have
Right.
the big plastic face
Like
mask
the Jason-looking
over
masks.
his head. Exactly. Now we're talking about a different kind of mask. Clearly doesn't cover the eyes. Looks like Carl Schletzbaum's going to get outfitted with a new mask and come on over and figure it all out. All right, so Ashland ball, 12-6 is the score. You were starting to say how much you can hear during the timeouts. You're absolutely right. It's almost like you could eavesdrop if you really wanted to on the other team and kind of figure out what they're talking about.
And then these teams that play 2 games in a row, you got to think you could go back and watch the film and hear it all.
That's a very good point. Air ball on that shot. Short, wants that back. That's Charlie Mixis. The ball is out of bounds, and it will stay here with the Clockers. By the way, the Clockers, I have to say, that is one of the best nicknames in all of Massachusetts sports, of course.
It's definitely up there. Back when I was in high school, we scrimmaged a team from Arlington known as the Spy Ponders. So
I love the Spy Ponders.
That's
That's a
up there.
great one.
wow,
Nice
really good defense there.
Yeah, Francis really showing some maturity there on the minutes, making sure that he got that ball turned over as he did. All right, Daniels back in. Your cousin back out. I won't call him that all night. Don't worry. Just learning that tonight is excellent. Cam McDonough out. Thought about it. Bodette passes it off to Daniels. Steves wants this one. Doesn't take it. Another travel. Yeah, so I don't know if it's the first step on Daniels when he's trying to think about driving, or it's almost like he doesn't know exactly what he wants to do with the ball
Yeah,
sometimes.
it looks as though he's buffering for a second. He doesn't know whether he wants to drive or just plant and shoot. And he's got that in-between move. And we've seen a couple travel calls so far.
Joe, that's very poignant that you just said buffering. I really think that kind of sums up exactly what I was trying to say. Very succinct. As we get a call on Matty Mahoney. A little bit of guarding there, a little bit of a push, perhaps. Playing on the ball there. But you're right, I think he was kind of buffering. We'll see. It's, Kristen, she wants to rely on him, obviously, for the dribble drive. want to be able to have that first step fake so that he can take the ball in the basket. He's probably the best at driving the basketball on the Mustangs. Although, Steves does a good job too, as does McDonough. But Ashland looking to move the ball. That's inside the arc, and that ball is short on the shot. Steves with the rebound. Looking to push, perhaps 2 for 1 here with the shot clock still. Look at the move.
What a move.
That spin move by Joey Steves. Just saw his parents coming by, introduced myself and said, hello, and you got to be proud of your son. And once again, doing nice things on the basketball court is Joey Steves. That ball is off the hands of number 12, Evan Letichevsky.
Good couple defensive stands here for the Mustangs, and we're hearing it from the bench as well. So, although we're not sitting next to each other in a line, that social distance bench is still fully energized.
Shot clock is off, 20 seconds to go. McDonough at half court brings it over. They're obviously going to hold for 1 here. Trying to figure out if he can get a ball screen here. Looks like it's coming. Over to the side, Beaudet. A nice move right over the top. Rebound by Francis. Somebody needs to shoot it, and that's going to be Daniels with a prayer. And unfortunately, this is a basketball court with side hoops. So it whacks off the side hoop, and it's going to go over to the Clockers. It's almost like if you were playing in a dome stadium and you hit the catwalk on a really high pop. People don't like where the Tampa Bay Rays play.
I was going to mention the Tampa Bay Rays.
It happens. And it looks like the rest will just kind of wind that clock down. So a 14-6 Mustangs lead after 1. You like how they push the ball in the first half. It almost seems like the recipe against a team that hasn't played as much and can't get in their half-court sink. Push the ball on offense, make them play defense on you in transition.
Yeah, you nailed it right on the head there. If you're playing against a team, this is their 4th game, they've only played 3 games. They have met once before, so they met last night, but you definitely want to get the ball moving around, make these guys move. If they're out of shape, expose them, drive by them. It's all about that tonight.
Yeah, and the other thing is foul trouble could certainly come into play here. If you haven't played a lot of basketball and you're not used to moving your feet and sliding properly, you're going to get grabby. It's just kind of the natural thing that'll often happen. Only 3 fouls so far for Ashland and 2 for Norwood, but something we'll keep an eye on. We were doing the game last week against Westwood. Norwood was in the bonus very early on, and then eventually the double bonus. And so that really helped because they were making their free throws. And last week in particular, we were talking a lot about Noah Beaudet, who I shorted 3 points. Apparently he had 27, not 24 last week. But he led his team to a convincing and a great 4th quarter and a nice win. But he was just draining his free throws. He made 11 of 11, make that 13 of 13 from the free throw line. I mean,
wow.
The consistency is there. As we start the second quarter, we're seeing some more of those seniors on the court. There's Carl Schletzbaum. He got his mask all cinched up, a new medical mask for him. He'll be joined on the court by Beaudet and Steves. That's Daniels and McDonough at the top. Ashland's going to try to chip away at this lead here, do the best that they can, try to get back into this game down 8 points after the first quarter. Norwood in a little bit of a 2-3 zone. It actually looks like maybe a 1-3-1 zone that she has them in, very active. Taking away that 3-point shot, not wanting the dribble drive to happen, but they do get it inside, although that ball is short on the shot by Dylan Drozek, out of bounds, and it goes to Norwood. Ball movement's tough in the zone. You mentioned the 2-3 zone. The communication was unreal in that, in combination with the empty gym and the discipline of these Norwood players is unbelievable. Every time the ball moved, calling out, watching, head on a swivel as McDonough makes a short jumper. He does, and he dribbled right through the zone, too. So Ashland countered with a zone of their own, and we'll have to look at it the next time down in the court. But it almost looked like potentially a 2-3 with a collapse on the side. And if that's the case, they need more of a collapse because they did allow an open scoring opportunity there, cashed in on by McDonough. Looked like he tied him up there, Steves did, but not called by the refs. 22, absolutely getting mugged, and he actually has a legitimate point there, I would say, although a nice block on the shot, missed on the putback by Daniels. This is my blind spot, so if you can see that, Joe, I can't see who that's out of bounds on. Yeah, that's out of bounds on the Clarks. It's going to be Mustang's ball, looking like Joey Steves is going to do the sideline inbound right in front of the Ashland
social distance bench.
Yeah, I've made it my mission not to criticize the refs tonight. But Jake Rimza has an absolute point. As he came in the lane, there were 2 or 3 times I think he got fouled.
At least.
And they didn't call a tie-up either. So he was a little bit frustrated as he sat on the court looking around for somebody to say, is anybody watching?
I think if you're going to hold off on the refs, I think I can make up for it if you want me to.
Well, it is a family channel, so we'll try to be we'll try to keep our words a little bit brief on that. But to be honest, they've been doing a great job, and this is not an easy game to call anyway, let alone during COVID. You got to watch out for the masks, make sure the kids are in order. So that's another thing to watch out for. All right, we got a foul on the floor. That one's going against the Clockers. 4th foul. That one's against number 21.
That's Ewells.
Ewells, Devin Ewells, one of the seniors.
His first, team 4th.
So Ashland is a new coach this year, and he comes over from Lincoln Sudbury. That's Coach Mike Normant, Normant, Normant. And he was at Lincoln Sudbury for several years. The previous coach, Colin Murphy, out after 2 years in Ashland. So you say to somebody, well, you're going to be the new coach. You don't expect this kind of a season.
That's right.
Where I was reading on Ashland's website, they had tryouts for the basketball team on January 19th. So that doesn't give you a lot of time to prepare as you're getting your season going. And by tryouts, I'm sure they had an idea of some of the kids that were going to play. But, if anybody else wants to come out and try to make the team. By the way, that foul, number 20 will be going to the line here. That's Spencer Roth, another one of the seniors.
Yeah, they're going to get Daniels on that one, his first.
So Roth goes to the line. This is the first free throw on this end. And if you haven't watched COVID-era basketball, as we'll call it for now, or high school basketball, when you get 2 shots, the first one, nobody's in there. So that certainly is not a technical foul, although it looks like it to people who have been watching basketball for a long time. Second one is up and no good. Rebound by J. Mario Corellis, the healthy J. Mario Corellis. I was reading a tweet earlier in the day from the coach, and she said, J. Mario got the game ball last night, and the reason he did is that he was hustling inside and he's actually healthy, as you can see that heavy wrap on his left knee there. But good to see him healthy, a contributor in the several years that I've been doing this, and now a part of the team as opposed to a couple years ago when he was sort of the focus of who they had to kind of go to add to some scoring. Shot missed by Drozek. Not a good chance for him inside. And the Mustangs looking to add to their 9-point lead. Nice first step and a fadeaway. Does not go for Bodette Corellis. Trying to be big inside, but the ball's on the floor. It's going to be tied up. And going the way of the Clockers. Team defense, I tell you, Joe. Team defense is really what's going to help this team. They're just going to make sure that each time they double, they don't lose their man. And that's what you can see from Coach McDonald's team. That's sort of that's a hallmark of hers, to play wall-to-wall defense all game long.
Yeah, and as you mentioned that, back on that play that we just watched, Dylan Drozek, diving on the floor there to get that alternate possession call, that jump ball. So, guys digging deep, although they're 0-3, there's no give up in this team.
Fade away with a nice shot. First shot by Marcus Villafane, a player we haven't seen before. Sophomore for Ashland.
Mustangs have been pretty dominant in the last couple of possessions, but it's still only a 7-point game.
Yeah, absolutely. Still very early on. Pass to Bodette, passes up the 3, takes the 2, and a swish. Nice shot by Noah Bodette, 8 points for him so far in the first half.
We've seen him do that a couple times. On the last possession, he missed it. Tries it again on this. Little bit different area from where he was shooting from, but almost the same move, and he gets that one to drop.
Strong take there by Rimza. Does not go. As you mentioned, Rimza, one of the great line of basketball names. Rimza. Heard a slap on the floor there. Turnover out of bounds. I think he was looking for Bodette to cut, and he didn't.
He was also looking for a foul call. You could hear the slap of his arm all the way up here. No call.
I wasn't
And,
sure who slapped who on that one, but somebody definitely got slapped.
Yeah, I think it was on the pass there as McDonald's going to take a timeout, talk it over. 18-9 the score here in the opening half, 4:07 to go here on Nord Community Media.
And I just saw assistant coach Robert Agostinelli. He is an assistant coach for Ashland. I talked to him before the game. He said, they played us tough last night. We're going to try to play them tough tonight. I just saw him go out and congratulate one of his guys for the hard work, because if there's one thing we're seeing from Ashland from the jump, it may not be the skill, but it certainly is the effort. And that's something you hope to see from a team, especially a high school team that hasn't played a lot, just to give them the opportunity to get out here and do their thing.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, these guys have been playing this game their whole life. This isn't, these seniors, it's not the ideal way to end it, but what's the point in not trying if you do get to play?
And you just mentioned seniors, and I want to point out the seniors for both squads, because in the case of Norwood, this is their final home game. If you haven't been paying attention to basketball, or even if you have and didn't know this, as Joe mentioned earlier, there is no playoffs this year, so there's not going to be any kind of a state tournament. So Norwood just has one more basketball game after tonight, and that's going to be Tuesday in Dedham against the Marauders. So the 6 seniors, to call them out, 5 of them, by the way, getting the start tonight, and here they are: Damari Daniels, Marco Petrillo getting the start tonight, J. Mario Corellis, Cam McDonough, Robbie Witkowski, and Carl Schletzbaum. And on the other side, for the Clockers, who have, by the way, a much longer season, they actually have another 8 to 10 games or so, Jeffrey Dolloway Jr., Jack Lima, Evan Letichevsky, Spencer Roth, Devin Ewells, and Nick Simpson. 6 seniors for each squad. So that means a lot of playing time for the underclassmen, and both of these programs certainly can develop. Villafane with the ball, fresh off his shot. It's a younger lineup, a three-pointer attempted. Nice-looking shot. Does not go there by Rimza. Mahoney looking to push. Steve's thought about it, takes it in instead. Fighting for his own rebound. That is a Joey Steves play right there, if I've ever seen him. He's going to get another, isn't he? Looks like J. Mario came down with that and was fouled on the floor. But if I've seen something from Joey Steves last year and this year, it's the incredible effort on the offensive glass. I mean, he does not want to be denied on his rebounds.
Yeah, he might be the second smallest guy out here on both teams, and he came down with his own rebound there.
Corellis missed the first free throw. Yeah, you're right. He actually may be the second smallest guy right now on the court. It's close. I don't know. Bodette maybe. But either way, nice rebound. Offensive rebound off the miss by Witkowski. That one goes a little wild. Mahoney back on defense. Keeps Villafane from driving. They force inside. Simpson, the dish to Villafane. And a nice runner in the lane. I'm seeing something from Marcus Villafane, the sophomore. Another 2 for him. Brings his team within 9, 18-11. They'll learn you have to D that one up, by the way. That's a pretty open look right there for Bodette. Does not fall, but that's a pretty open look and something they're going to want to play defense on.
Yeah, you don't want to let Bodette get hot. He already has 2 3-pointers and a 2-pointer today, so definitely don't want to leave him open.
And speaking with Ashland before the game, speaking with their coaches, one of the things they said is we're not a high-scoring team, which is what we can see right now, but we do play aggressive defense, which we're also seeing right now. So they need to keep this a pretty low-scoring game, I think, to stay close, Joe. I mean, I think that's really, they can't let Norwood have a big run as they kind of did to start the game. But see, there's that aggressive defense, trailing the play, and a nice open look, and Witkowski. A nice spinning shot, a little spinorama for Robbie Witkowski.
Yeah, you mentioned the Clockers not being a high-scoring team. Their second game against Holliston, 2-point game, but they scored 37-35.
That's a pretty low-scoring game for high school hoops. You're absolutely right. Simpson likes that glass. He likes that lefty shot. Does not go, though. Steve's calling the play, trying to figure this out. He says, I'll take it, and I'll dish it. Mahoney got it. Love that contribution from the freshman. The only freshman on this team Matty Mahoney gets on the board for 3, 23-11 now.
No doubt
freshman,
about it.
by the
for
way,
him.
on Ashland either, so he's the only freshman on the court.
Yeah, Mahoney, no doubt about that one. Left with time and space, and he capitalized.
Oh, I love the sound of that. That is music to my ears and coaches everywhere. The sound of a scraping flesh, knees, elbows. Get out the gauze pads, Joe.
Full effort.
Full effort, picking his pocket, and you know what? It's Ashland ball, but guess what? His coach remembers it, the fans remember it, and he remembers it, and so do his teammates. Capital E for effort there. Nice job by Matty Mahoney, the freshman, getting dirty on the floor there for the Mustangs. Now that one he wants back. So that time he actually acted like a freshman.
Yeah, we'll give it to him now. He's the only freshman, so.
It is. But on that one, he was a little late and he was a little grabby. But that's okay, right? This is all part of learning.
Yeah, that's the second type of foul that we've seen him. It's almost the same one he had the first foul he committed. So that's a habit he definitely has to grow out of. But being a freshman, he has plenty of time to get out of it.
Quick hands by Robbie Witkowski. That one almost came up in the rafters to us, but not quite. Would have been caught by a fan, but not quite. It's a quiet barn tonight, by the way. It's a quiet barn. You can hear the squeaks and the scrapes. But that's just the way it's become. This is the new type of basketball for now. Trying to force the issue, by the way, and I'm going to guess he's okay. A timeout call. That's a smart play by Coach Norman to actually get a timeout on that. A little bit out of control there was Dalloway. It looked like maybe he got shoved, but a no call, and it was going to be a call soon after, which was going to be traveling.
Right. 90 seconds to go. You got 14 left on the shot clock. You know, you want to talk it over. Still anybody's game. 23-11 the score in the opening half. So, you know, not a bad timeout call there. He wants to talk it over, get a score in this possession, let the Mustangs come down the court and maybe get a stop, turn around and get another score and make this a closer game to end out the first half.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you had 90 seconds to go, you have 14 on the shot clock. Are we looking inside here? Are you hoping to maybe set a screen to get something open on the outside? What would you think here?
I think typically in games like this, I know Kristen touches upon it on her Twitter all the time, that teams get down by a bunch and they'll just start jacking up threes. So personally, I would try to get somebody down underneath the hoop. Why not get 24 out there, Nick Simpson? Just get him underneath the hoop and get him to get one off the window and in. But does not appear as though he's on the court for this possession. So.
Okay, they subbed him out there. New player for the Mustangs is Ryan Fitzsimmons, the junior. Number 23, a forward for the Mustangs, is in there. And he's guarding a taller player, Charlie Mixa, inside. They may look for Mixa inside. As you mentioned, Simpson would be the logical guy, but maybe it's someone else who's going to get this pass inside to try to draw the foul. But we've seen Villafane, and he actually gives it inside to a smaller man. No shot. They ran out of clock. Actually, a really nice play design, but they needed another second.
Yeah, I figured they were going to do something similar to that, you know, maybe post up underneath the hoop, but they just didn't get the play off in time.
Dalloway with a nice shot, but after the clock had expired, so no basket. Bodette looking across. McDonough's wide open for a very deep three. A very deep three, and a nice shot by Cam McDonough. Now has 7 points in the first half, extending Norwood's lead to 15 points. Ashland looking to counter, maybe not with a three, but at least with a basket, although Steve's on the floor, quick hands, and a layup inside. First points of the night by Jack Lima. And a steal, and right away, Lima again? Yes, and it goes. That right there, my friend, is a potentially a 5-point turnaround right there, and is exactly what you need if you're Ashland, and exactly the kind of thing that's going to make Kristen very upset going into the half.
Yeah, going into the half, you definitely, under a minute, you don't want to be giving up turnovers like that, especially in this game. Still anybody's game. You know, for Ashland, you hope to carry this into the second half. If you're Nord, you leave behind the last minute of this half.
All right, so Lima's trying to finish off the conventional three-point play with a free throw here. Called a violation in the lane on Joey Steves over the line. A very clear call by the referee. So he'll get one more. And he makes him pay. Three-point play by Jack Lima. He has 5, and those 5 came within seconds. 30 to go. Shot clock is on, like a 1.5 second differential. Daniel's looking to get on track in the first half here. Long pass across. McDonough thought about it, but there's still clock to burn. You can tell that they do not want to give this back over to the Clockers. But if you get a wide open three, you might as well take it. Bodette wants that one back. Did not follow through on the shot. Daniels looks, gives. McDonough, foul on the pass? Yes. Foul on the pass. Now that is, nope, not quite in the bonus. So this one's going to be on the sideline. I thought that might have been the 7th. That's the 6th foul of the half for the Clockers. All right, quick play inside here. Shot clock is off. Steve's looking, thinking Corellis, throws it up. Clock's winding down. Villafaine's going to have to huck it. He does. And he throws it off the shot clock. No good. 26-16 is your halftime score. A 10-point Norwood lead. 14-6, by the way, after one. So in this quarter, I should say, Norwood actually had 12-10. So they maintain their lead, expand it just a little bit. What did you see from the Mustangs in the second quarter, Joe, compared to the first quarter?
I saw a lot of unforced turnovers. We talked a lot in the first quarter about how well the Mustangs were moving the ball in the offensive zone. They were finding the open man, hitting the open shots. In the second quarter there, saw some sloppy plays, saw some off-ball fouls, saw some defensive fouls, and then the unforced turnovers as well are killing the Mustangs so far, but luckily they're still up by 10.
Absolutely. I want to see if we can go to our sponsors, by the way, and it's a shorter halftime, so I'm going to read them off. If you can get them up on the board, that'd be great. Our monitor's not on here, so if you aren't seeing them, I'm just going to call them out. We want to thank our sponsors for all they do for us and for this program and this channel. And our 2021 sponsors for the Norwood boys basketball team are Napper Tandies, Norwood Youth Football and Cheer, Selectman Tom Maloney, Norwood Diamond Club, McDonough and Novak, Lewis's, Norwood Little League, the Bank of Canton, Orange Leaf, Carroll Advertising, the Law Office of the Bob Grenham, Accelerated Real Estate School, Feisty Greek, Norwood Gridiron Club, we thank them, Norwood Police Association, Norwood Hoop Club, Feeney Brothers, Lovell's Nursery, and last but certainly not least, Topaz Engineering. We couldn't do it without all of you. Thanks for being part of this community. And speaking of community, right now we're seeing a team that is putting the community on its back because they're 7-2. They're looking to try to get to 8-2. They haven't lost at home this year, so this is a treat for folks at home. They've just been seeing this team win, and there's a reason why. They're playing team basketball.
That's right, 3-0-0 here at home. And, you know, we talk about this team that they are running over when guys are falling down, picking their teammates up, cheering from the bench. This is a complete team, and they're all invested in each other.
And they are showing it on the court right now as the half winds down in a 26-16 ball game. What do the Ashland Clockers need to do to get back in this game in the third quarter, Joe?
I would say do more things like they did in the last 30 seconds there in the first half. You know, force the turnovers, get to the Mustangs early when they're trying to inbound the ball, and get underneath the basket. You know, we talked about in the first quarter, it carried over into the second quarter for the Clockers, that jacking up these threes around the perimeter aren't going to do it for them unless they get hot. And I don't foresee that happening. I think the way this Clockers team needs to score is underneath the basket.
I think that's wise by you. I also am not so sure they can run with Norwood, so we'll see if they can get themselves in a half-court set as we switch sides here. Start of the third quarter. Noah Bodette looking around for Joey Steves, Damari Daniels, Robbie Woodkowski, and Cam McDonough are your starting five, a very strong five, I should add, for the Mustangs. Looking to move the ball, find that open man. And the defense is not giving them anything so far. That was an open man, but a little off on the pass. Skip pass for Daniels, shot clock running down. Steves with the left does not go. Look at that offensive work. He is Mr. Clean, Mr. Windex. I mean, not to be denied, right?
Hard work underneath the hoop for this team is signature for Joey Steves.
Yeah, I mean, if you can say that you're the hardest working guy in Norwood, that is absolutely saying something. And he must hear us talking about him, or maybe this is just how he plays. Yes, it is just how he plays. Steves goes to the hoop, draws the foul. But, I mean, hey, if you dangle the basketball near half court and you're Joey Steves, he is going to steal it from you.
He's definitely going to pounce on there. He can show off his speed as well, as we saw him shift gears and turn it on as he drove to the hoop there, and they called that one on the floor, so he'll get it on the sideline.
All right, Stealin' Joey Steves. That's the nickname for the guy who's inbounding the ball and is one of the futures of this program, just a junior. He'll be here next year. I'm certain he will be a captain of this team, and he'll lead them as he is this year. As McDonough's looking outside, he throws to Steves. Damari tries to reset. Looking inside for Witkowski, the dribble, Bodette off the glass, soft hands, and in for him.
Not an easy shot there for Bodette. He was past the rim, and he decided to put it in his right hand and bank it off the glass.
Tied up by Steves. At this point, I would actually recommend the Clockers not bring it near him.
Stay away from Steves. He's going to take the ball from you, or he's going to get his hands on it somehow.
It sure looks like he's on a different, even for him, he's on a different pace right now than I've seen him. I mean, he is playing some fierce basketball. And if you notice who he's guarding right now, he's guarding one of their inside guys, a guy who he's giving up pounds to and inches to. But it doesn't matter because he's the kind of guy who can play outside or inside. As Daniels gets his hand on that, a little bit of a scrum on the floor and a nice fling to try to get it for the easy layup. Shot clock violation? No, it actually, I guess, was off beforehand. I wasn't even thinking of the shot clock. I don't know if you were. It did look like possession had changed, but yet they let the shot clock run either way. Steve's thought about it again and looking around. Deep three for Daniels to finally get on track. That's Damari's first bucket of the night. He certainly wanted them before that, but that is a nice shot from him from deep.
Looks as though Daniels has figured out that buffer step that he'd been doing. It's just don't move at all. Just throw it up from right there.
That's too far from the basket, in my humble opinion, if you're Nick Simpson. Get him inside to get him a chance underneath the hoop. As you set something up, a nice leaning shot does not go. Norwood looking to push as they typically do. McDonough pacing himself. And a push and a bump inside. That foul's going to be on Spencer Roth, number 20 for Ashland.
His first team second early on here in the third quarter. That's another thing to keep an eye on.
Ashland is a town, by the way, in the Tri-Valley League, maybe not as familiar, given that Norwood played so long in the Bay State, but some excellent football in the mid-'90s. Super Bowl winning team in 1996, 95, led by Greg Carey, a great quarterback. Really a fabulous team with a lot of great players, and they consistently have good sports. Even just 6 years ago, their basketball team was 19-1. So this is a team with some promise. It just needs to get back on the right track. And speaking of the right track, looks like a little pressure here from Mahoney as we try to get the ball over the timeline. Devin Ewell's dribbling the ball. Pull-up pop. It's a nice shot from him. His first two of the night. Brings his team within 15 points. And that's the first two, by the way, for the Clockers of the half. I said this before, and it's worth saying again. The first 5 minutes of the half, always the most important part. My coach, Mark Sklarz, used to say that. Hey, if you can win the first 5 minutes of the half, and I think I know who is winning the first 5 minutes of the half, as we see a nice three from Steves. If you can win the first 5 minutes of the half, you set the tone for the rest of the half, and that makes a difference for everybody. And at this point, it looks like Norwood is trying to set that tone. They lead 10-2 so far, and we're not even halfway through the third. Nice back cut.
Yeah, wide open there. Jake Rimza found himself wide open, laid that one in.
Rimza's taken a ton of shots, by the way, and that's his first two, believe it or not. I actually looked at my book, and I thought he had scored a few other ones before, unless I'm doing it wrong. Did you have Rimza making a shot before that?
I have 0 for Rimza.
Amazing. It looked like he had been making other shots beforehand. That foul on Norwood, number 20, is fouled. Looks like we're going to get a timeout on the floor. No, just full substitution. It looked like a timeout, but in this case, Coach Normant bringing in most of his guys. Ashland, by the way, just 0-3 if you're just joining us. They get a late start to their season, as a lot of teams have during COVID. 2 losses to Holliston, lost to Norwood last night at the home and home. They've got several more games throughout the year against Hopkinton and some other teams in the Tri-Valley League, whereas Norwood already 7-2. Sad to see the season winding down, but it certainly is. as they just have one more game left, and that game is on Tuesday at Dedham. Joey Steve's feeling it. Why not shoot it? But that one's no good. Rebound down on the floor, getting a little complicated is Devin Yules as he dribbles it off the side of his leg. Seems to have a pretty good handle, though, doesn't he, Joe? Yules?
He does, and the thing I wanted to mention here is that it's pretty interesting that we've only seen the Clockers starters, all 5 of them out there at the same time twice. Again, those starters being 20 through 24 in the roster, so it's super easy to recognize when they're out there.
I think we just saw the right-handed Joey Steves in an Ashland Clockers jersey right there, number 21. Excellent work by Devin Yules. 3 straight offensive rebounds, and I didn't see much of a box in front of him. But there he goes and gets it, and he pays off at the line with a nice shot for him. Good working by Yules inside.
Made his first, he's going to shoot a second here, is Yules. His first being the first point he had all game. Second one, no good.
There's Marcus Villafane. See him from the outside. Looks like we're getting a foul on the Mustangs. We're going to stay here. I see some fans in the stands over there. Unfortunately, they're cutouts, but we had Bernie Mittens the other night, and that was good fun. The camera panned over, and there was Bernie sitting there. I was thinking that meme might be kind of winding down by now. Is it going to ever totally wind down, though? I don't know.
I don't think so. I mean, with stuff like that, it's interesting because as soon as like real verified accounts start making them, like I'm not sure how funny it is anymore.
That's a good point. It's a nice shot by Dalloway. His first, he's tried several. His first points cuts the lead to 13. A straight up 3 is no good. Mahoney follows his shot. Put a foul underneath. Good working by Petrillo inside. That's going to be on the floor. Norwood basketball. Francis is going to take the inbound. Francis, another one of the juniors. There's a few juniors on the team that get good time, and that's Steves, and certainly see some Francis Fitzsimmons at times. That'll stay here with the Mustangs.
Fast hands there from the senior of the Clockers, Lechevsky. Pushes that one out of bounds. There's shot clock. Shot clock still at 30. A little bit of confusion here in the inbound.
I think he's just putting him in a different place. It almost seems like where the ball went out of bounds.
This is
Referees
one of those.
confer.
This is one of those new rules where there's only so many spots on the sidelines where you can inbound from. You see the baseline inbound less often now.
When the refs confer, I always think it's the Serengeti. The zebras are getting together at the watering hole. There they are. Okay, resetting here for the Mustangs after a bad dad joke. Off, no good by McDonough. Daniels thought about it. Petrillo, strong move by Petrillo, no good, and that over the back on Brandon Francis. One of the easiest calls for any official in any level of basketball is when a taller player reaches over a shorter player for the ball. It just becomes much more obvious as an over the back, and that's what we saw right there.
We did see a few offensive rebounds there for the Mustangs, and then, of course, Francis got a little excited on that one, went over the back, but, it's good to see that these hard-fought rebounds underneath the Mustangs' offensive rim.
Some good minutes from Matty Mahoney as he checks out. Full court press here. As she has guys flex back. Good press break by the Clockers. Defensive intensity is still there. That shot is short by Dalloway. Norwood looking to take advantage here. Just been stuck on 13 for a while. Daniels straight up. Clockers thought they didn't foul him. Daniels thought he did. Eventually a no call by the officials. I always like when they let him play. That did look like a foul, though. Damari
Hopefully he's
checks
all right
out.
there on the
Gonna
far
get
sideline.
checked out after he checks out. Looks like he might just need a minute over there on the side. Beaudet stepped on the baseline. Ref didn't see it, so the play continues. Dribble in, and a jumper does not go.
That move that we just saw from McDonough is one that he loves. He'll look up at the rim, make you freeze, and then he'll put the ball on the ground and drive, and then stop on a dime, pull up for the shot. That one didn't drop, but we've seen him do that a lot in his last 4 years.
So Francis right there got called for another foul. That one wasn't really over the back. That was more of a push, but he's got to be a little careful. Villafane, by the way, trying to clear a little space. So that right there, okay. That's one of those 50-50 calls where Villafane's clearing a little space with the arm, but Beaudet is playing him so tightly, and I think he just slipped.
Yeah, you mentioned it being a 50-50 call. I think that call changes if the ref is standing on the other side. Because you can see more clearly, he had his back facing the ref, and if he's on the other side, you see that he almost didn't touch him.
You're right, Joe, and you know what sometimes happens on that play is when a player loses his balance because there's like a wet spot or whatever it might be on the floor, it looks like he was knocked down when in fact he just falls.
Right.
And that could have easily been the case there. But either way, it's a foul on Beaudet, and we continue. Ashland just trying to get some offense going, but you need that basketball as you're going to try to bring it up. Norwood tries to save it, some good hustle. That's my blind spot, but I probably could have called it with my eyes closed because you knew it was Steves who was going to be flying into the screen over there. 36-23, about a minute to go here in the third quarter. Norwood very much in control right now simply because they are playing excellent on-ball defense, and they've held Ashland back here in the third quarter. Ashland isn't going away, though, especially with shots like that from Villafane.
Wow.
I called it before it went in because I could see the rotation. It was just one of those shots that he was going to make. Villafane now, by the way, with 7, and now he's playing aggressive defense. Trying to come in, a little Euro step, does not go. And he picks up a little bit of a foul. We talked about the freshman Mahoney getting a little handsy. That's the sophomore Villafane doing much the same thing.
You know, still a lot to learn for these younger guys, as it'll always will be, and you're still learning even your junior and senior year, but you make less of those mistakes.
And especially on a play like that where you do such a great job to steal the ball, you're taking 1-on-2, you almost make a nice under-over hoop, and you just want the basketball back, and somebody else has it, and you reach in. So a natural play. 14 seconds to go. Norwood still has the shot clock on. Nice take by McDonough. All the way in for 2. Norwood trying to press the basketball a little bit here. Didn't have to rush as much as he thought he did.
Wow, what a dart from Wachowski.
Pretty much Robbie Witkowski says, I want to be back on the football field, even if it means I have to play quarterback.
That was a rocket from Wachowski.
Almost knocks over the hoop, but does not. All right, so after 3, it's 38-26, Norwood with the lead. At the half, they were up by 10. They have now pushed that to 12. You said it. It was going to be the second half. What were they going to have to do to shut everything down? It was going to have to be the defense, and it was going to have to be to make sure they did not allow Ashland to just get unnecessary baskets, and that didn't happen.
Right, and they prevented them from getting unnecessary baskets all the way in their own offensive zone. If you're the Mustangs, even if they're not making their first shot, they're still getting at least one offensive rebound every time. Sometimes we saw 2 or 3 in the same play. So if you take away their opportunity to play offense at all, you don't even need to play good defense.
In some ways, that's actually true. In Ashland's case, they need to play excellent defense here in the fourth quarter because they trail by 12. We'll see what happens with this team. We've seen them play pretty good trapping defense. What they need to do is get stops. And so good defense can lead to stops, but sometimes good defense leads to a shot clock that winds down and something that breaks your heart with like 2 seconds left in the shot clock. We've seen that a few times.
Right, at the bare minimum, you don't want to commit any fouls if you're the Mustangs. You know, both teams, Mustangs with 6 team fouls here in the second half. Clockers with 4 team fouls. That's another thing you want to keep an eye on as we head down the last 8 minutes here. You know, not only do you want to see the Mustangs stop the Clockers in the Clockers offensive zone, but you also don't want to see them commit fouls either.
It's the honest truth. This is the last quarter of basketball for the 2020-2021 home season. Josh Brigadier here with Joe Spadorsho. We know him as Spud, and we thank him for being here tonight. And we thank all of you for being here tonight at home and watching this on a Friday night, a great Friday night here. February 5th, Super Bowl Sunday. We won't get into that too much here in the fourth quarter because we are talking basketball right now as Matty Mahoney, the freshman on the court there. Looking around is Cam McDonough. In the corner is Bodette with a nice look. Open look, does not go. This is a big bucket. This is a big possession here for Ashland to try to creep back into this game, Joe.
Yeah, if we go back to that play, that will be a play that you don't remember, but if you're in the grand scheme of things, that was a huge play, and it was pretty defining of what the Mustangs have done so far. Everybody on the court on the Mustangs touched that ball before the shot went up. It didn't go in, but that's another thing to keep an eye on.
Here's some chatter from the bench and a nice dribble drive and in by Spencer Roth. The first time we've called his name tonight. A nice aggressive drive by him. Bodette thinking about it, but looking for Mahoney, who's more open than he was. Boy, does he want that one back. Just a little short, didn't follow through, and he knows it. All right, we're going to get some size inside. Mahoney out, Fitzsimmons in. Number 23, the junior forward.
Speaking of substitutions, as I mentioned in the third quarter, we've only seen the starting five for the Clockers twice, and here's the third time. 20, 21, 22, 23, and 24 out there.
Good eyes by you, trying to go with his guys to bring him back into it. Double-double foul and a block. So the foul happened first. Looks like we're going to be going to the line here. And to the line, number 21 is Devin Yules, who has 3 points. He had one bucket, and he was 1-1 for the line, and now he makes his second from the stripe. He now has 4 points this half as they're filling in the lane there. Clockers trying to trim this to an 8-point lead, and they do. This is the closest they've been since the first quarter.
Yeah, still anybody's game. You know, the Clockers go on a run here, and, you know, we have a 1 or 2 possession game.
Clockers allowing some passing in the passing lanes to happen. That one is not what Bodette was looking for. Look at that aggressive play by Fitzsimmons. Ryan Fitzsimmons with an excellent shot. 2 men blanketing him, and he scores that tough hoop, pushing the lead back to double digits.
10-point game now, 6.5 to go in regulation.
A little bit of embellishment there and a good no call. Steves takes it all the way in and no call again. Perhaps underneath, all the way underneath.
Steves not shying away from the physical contact there. Would have loved a blocking call, but didn't get it.
No, and Coach Norman looked at that and he actually said to the official, he said, was he too far under? I don't know what the official said back to him there, but it appears that was the call, that he was too far under, so therefore it was not a charge, and he didn't think it was a blocking foul either. And either way, it is now 12-point lead. Joey Steves putting his team on top. Picking your pocket, Joey Steves going to take it himself here, and he does. The lefty finishes a righty layup. I'll tell you what, if this game ended right now, Joey Steves has my game ball. But we'll have 5 minutes and 40 more seconds for you, and you can decide for yourself.
Yeah, he's
Ashland,
up to 11 now.
Sorry to interrupt you, Joe. Go ahead. What were you saying?
He's up to 11 points now. We've seen him do hard work off ball, and he's finally getting rewarded with it with a couple buckets.
That floater does not go. Attempt by Yules. Norwood looking to kill a little bit of clock. Trying to wind things down a bit here in this possession. Bodette had a nice open lane. No defense there at all. No one stepped up to take him. He was able to get himself right inside and score 2.
Between Steves and Bodette, I'm really not worried about the future of this team after these seniors graduate.
Isn't that the truth? Got a junior and a sophomore, Matty Mahoney, the freshman, and some other contributors. And speaking of contributions, dunk it, my friend. Oh, okay. All right, I got them all excited. Corellis, I think, is the only one on the team who can dunk. But Robbie Witkowski with a nice steal. Straight up and gets his 2.
So at one point it was a 10-point game. We're like, oh, it's anybody's game. Clockers put together some possessions. We could have a 1 or 2 possession game. All of a sudden, Mustangs on top, 48-30. largely due to Steves and Badette, and then Wachowski to get that fast break bucket.
You're absolutely right. Ashland there cut it to 8 points. It was the first time since the first quarter they had cut it lower than double digits, and then there came the Mustangs. They marched right down, and they are on a 10-0 run right now to push it to 48-30. It was almost like they kind of sensed it themselves. I'm not even sure that Coach McDonald even said specifically, hey, it's an 8-point game, guys, get aggressive. I think they sort of sensed that there was a lull in the action, and this was their time to shine.
Yeah, that's right. Not only is Coach McDonald one of the smartest coaches in the history of high school basketball, I would say, her intelligence is also rubbing off on these players.
Well, heart is a lot of this, but you need heart to go with some skill and certainly with the determination, and we're seeing all three things right now from the Norwood Mustangs as they have an 18-point lead, 4:43 to go here on Nolet Johnson Court. I think they're probably going to try to maybe shave some time off the clock as best they can. You would expect some long possessions, and that's going to require some more aggressive defense on the perimeter if you're the Clockers.
Yeah, if we go back to the third quarter the Mustangs had in the second half of that third quarter, if they're missing the first shot, they're getting their second and third rebounds. That wastes a ton of time. So if even if you aren't making these huge buckets as the Mustangs are right now, you can still maintain the offensive rebound dominance.
Ewell's running the ball, looking for somebody to pass to. Finds his man. That's a nice give and go, and another nice pass inside for an easy bucket for two. Nice shot. That's Luke Herder for his first two of the game. Blanketed, but no good. Looks like maybe we got a foul on the floor there on Charlie Mixis. I think we're staying here. Yes, we are staying here, although the foul was on someone different. It was actually on Ewell's, number 21. First free throw, all on your own. A lot to think about if you're Ryan Fitzsimmons. Maybe a little too much to think about if you're Ryan Fitzsimmons, as sometimes happens. We don't have a huge crowd, but that's where the crowd is, right behind the hoop. So.
Yeah, that's right. Fitzsimmons, a junior. He's got 2 points today. He's going to take his second free throw here. In and out for the second. Took a victory lap for him.
Looks like we're having a double foul here. That's a very uncommon call. Call is a double foul on Steves for the Mustangs and on Herder, Luke Herder, Jr. for the Ashland Clockers. A double foul. Or maybe it wasn't a double foul. Did it look like he was calling fouls on both guys, or did he just get Joey Steves?
He definitely said blue 15, but maybe he was saying that white 5 was
5
holding
on
blue
15? Okay. An interesting call. I haven't seen that in a while, but okay.
I wish he was more specific because I already marked it down in pen on my clipboard. So.
Well, I guess you can zigzag it out. Maybe it could be an erasable ink because it definitely needs to change. I think that foul was just on Joey Steves. Tries to follow it up with a shot, but does not. Robbie Witkowski does not give up on rebounds. He does not give up on rebounds. Gets the tie-up, possession change on the alternating arrow, goes back over to the Ashland Clockers.
Couple substitutions for the Mustangs. Badette to take a break. Witkowski also to take a break.
Boston Marathon trivia for you now. Which stop along the marathon is Ashland? Which stop, which town number along the marathon route is Ashland?
3-pointers, good. Dylan Drozek.
While you think about that at home, I think that was Rimza. That was Rimza, number 22, got the 3, did he not? I believe?
That's right.
Okay, just want to double check, because I think Drozek, yes, okay, good. Double checking our program here. Drozek wears 23.
Right.
While you're thinking about my trivia question, a lot of the towns that Norwood has played in the last several years, be it the Bay State or the TVL, are along that marathon route. They play Hopkinton. There's your hint for the first one. Most of you know that. Second town, you got it. It is Ashland, the second town along the marathon route, followed by Framingham, Natick, Wellesley. I certainly hope I don't forget anybody. I believe we go Newton, followed by Brookline into the city of Boston. And if I'm forgetting anybody, I am very sorry. Boston Marathon hoping to come back in October. As we digress here, a 13-point lead for the Mustangs with 3:19 to go. Trying to control the flow of the game and just kill some clock at this point with who's out there, Joe.
Fitzsimmons loses control of that one and recollects, but a little bit too late, and it's going to go the other way into the hands of the clockers.
All right, Villafane to inbound. 13 points with 3:11 to go. Can it happen? I suppose you need a couple of threes and a couple of stops to start
Anything
out.
could happen.
Timeout on the floor.
We don't get to find out what's going to happen. These clockers are going to take a timeout. Here, 3:10 to go. Mustangs on top, 50-37. Joe Spadorsha, Josh Brogadier here at the Nolan Johnson Court at Nord High School.
And by the way, Joe, I want to point out that this could get a little bit slower just given the number of fouls that we're seeing. The Mustangs are already over the bonus. They have 8. They've been playing an aggressive half, and certainly this is, I would say, a more physical half than we saw in the first half from both sides, really.
This might be the most physical quarter we've seen all game. First 3 quarters relatively clean. I mean, we did at the end in the back half of the third quarter, we did see a few fouls go either way, but this so far, just under 5 minutes into this quarter, has been the most aggressive for both teams so far.
Yeah, and sometimes that often happens when guys get a little tired, right? Kind of hanging on each
Start
other.
grabbing, start reaching.
Sure. Not moving their feet as well, not sliding as well. That can certainly happen.
Yeah, this last 3 minutes is where the Mustangs would need to dig deep, and as well as the Clockers on the offensive side. But if you're the Mustangs, you're a fan of the Mustangs. On the defensive side, you need to dig deep, play good, clean defense, and get a couple stops.
All right, Joey Steves, I think, leads all scorers with 13. You'll check my numbers on that when you get a chance. And it does look like also Noah Bodette has 12 points for the Mustangs. Both of those guys having excellent games. We've come to expect that from both of them, and both of them underclassmen, so the future is certainly bright. As the Clockers are looking to try to not to kill clock, I knew I was going to make that joke at some point. They don't want clock being killed. They want
trying to
quit
figure out a way
clock.
to sneak it in as well.
And there's one shot right off the curl. See, that one has to go in, right? I mean, it's Schletzbaum on the floor, everybody on the floor.
The awareness, Coach McDonald calling the timeout as soon as McDonough dove on that, I should say. So as you mentioned, it can slow down with the fouls, but it also can slow down with the timeouts here. 50-37 the score, under 3 minutes to go. And, you know, we saw that 3 get thrown up there. And as you mentioned, the way to get back into this game for the Clockers is the fastest, most efficient way to be jacking up 3s. But personally, I've been saying it all game, and I'd love to see it here in the last 3 minutes of regulation, is moving the ball around, getting it underneath the basket to the taller guys. You know, we talked about Simpson. We talked about a couple other tall men, that big men right below the hoop. That's the way that this Clockers team needs to score.
They do, and actually that was a pretty open look, but to your point, they haven't really been falling,
Right.
on the night. They have 2 3-pointers for the game. One by Villafane, the other one by Jake Remza, who we just actually saw with that attempt there. So, yeah, moving the ball inside is what they want to do here, down by 13 with 2:53 to go. As you said, anything is possible, so it certainly is. We saw them kind of crawl back into it a little bit, cut it to 8, but it does seem like they're kind of hitting a little bit of a wall when they get to that point where it looks like they could make that next push. Nor was doing a good job on defense to stop that from happening.
Yeah, that wall being the Mustangs' defense and their passion and dedication, diving for these balls like we saw McDonough do on that last play before the timeout.
All right, we're going with Schletzbaum and Bodette, McDonough, Mahoney, and Witkowski. Nice floater, does not go, but stays in there for his own rebound. Smallest guy in the court goes right in there fearlessly to try to get that rebound. Look at Mahoney's. Nice motor from him to try to get the ball. And he chases Villafane. And Coach Normant, with a timeout, when he realized that play was being trailed with a lot of speed. Let's be honest. Matty Mahoney was going right over there to try to poke that ball away.
Yeah, he did call the timeout there when they got into the offensive zone. He noticed the trailer. But right here on the sidelines, he was like pump faking a timeout here. He didn't know where the ball was going to go, and he definitely wanted to keep possession with 2.5 to go.
50-37 is the score. A good time for a little bit of reflection on this season that is. We're talking about COVID basketball. We didn't know if it was going to happen. We didn't know if the fall sports were going to happen. A lot of effort. I give a lot of credit to the athletic director, John Longley, for making this happen, along with the his cohorts from other places throughout the Tri-Valley League in the state. Not every team is playing sports this winter.
That's right.
And that's really hard on players. In fact, I spoke with a charter school student not too long ago. The Foxborough Charter School was supposed to be the captain of soccer, the captain of volleyball. No seasons, either of them. And that's devastating for kids. And this is what everyone looks forward to.
Absolutely.
Their senior year, their captaincy, and that hasn't been possible for so many teams. So the fact that we're watching basketball tonight on a Friday night here in February, and numbers are starting to come down, which is pleasing to everybody. We're not out of the fight, but it is great to see sports happening, and I'm glad we're here tonight.
I'm glad I'm here with you as well, as that one went off the glass, and Wachowski never gave up on the play.
Yeah, that play looked like it could have involved a stretcher at one point. There were bodies on the floor there,
Guys
twisted.
diving.
Yeah, twisted people. I'm not even sure what we had there. The call is definitely a foul, and
It's going to go against
it looks like if
Schletzbaum.
it looks like, yeah, exactly. It looks like if he's okay, and that still remains to be seen, that Devin Ewells is going to come to the line once he figures out if he still has a left shoulder to use. I believe he does, because he's going to the line. So they're shooting 1-1 because we are in the bonus here. 9 fouls for the Mustangs. The first on Schletzbaum. Ewell's trying to bring his team back into it. He cuts it to 12. He'll get a second one.
Ewell capitalizing on the line today. He's got 4 from the stripe.
There's another
5
one there.
now.
11-point game. Coach Norman's saying, guys, we're not out of this. There's still 2 minutes to go. Tough defense, get a stop, get the ball back, and we need a 3. That would be what I would dial up for him, especially at this point in the game. You don't want to bomb 3s, but at the same time, if you have an open look, you take it. Good ball movement and good clock killing by Norwood.
Shot clock under 10 now.
It's a long possession. The dive in and the scrap, tying up the ball. Nice job by Jake Rimza, Jr., by the way. And a timeout called by Coach McDonald.
Alternating possession is going to go to the Mustangs, so McDonald will take the timeout. It's 11-point game, as you mentioned, under 2 minutes to go.
So without the change of possession, the shot clock does remain on, and this is a key part to this because there's only 4 seconds on the shot clock, even though there's 1:49 on the game clock. They're talking about this right now, actually, where it's going to be. She wants to know so she can draw up a play.
It's going to be on the close sideline, right? Below
Yeah,
us.
exactly. Over by us. She's got the grease board out. I'm watching that pen work feverishly over there to design something that our guys can understand. That is honestly one of the keys to coaching. You might have a great play design, but if your guys don't understand exactly what you're saying and someone's in the wrong position and the play gets blown up, you got to design something simpler or speak in a different way.
Right, on the opposite sideline, not as much use of the board as they're on the defensive side. So from what I overheard, it's just tough defense, don't foul here, and get a stop. 4 seconds to go on the shot clock. 1:49 on the game clock. Talking about switching defensive coverage there, Coach Norman.
Inbound for Steves, looking for Bodette. Ball goes to McDonough, gets it up in a hurry. The ball is short, and a nice rebound by Bodette for a fresh 30. Get it out, she's saying. Do not bring that basketball in.
Yeah, no need to rush an offensive possession in an 11-point game here. If you get a reset of the shot clock, why not pull it out and waste some more time?
You talk about a huge rebound and the timing of it. Steves wants it, elects to not have it, looking for Schletzbaum, and he gets fouled on the pass. But that was 20 seconds off the shot clock, Joe. So, I mean, essentially, it's not that you shouldn't be playing tight defense, and it's not that you shouldn't be on the perimeter playing defense, but 20 seconds is an eternity when you're down 11. You cannot allow that to happen.
Especially in an 11-point game with 90 seconds to go. And then again, we mentioned not fouling.
Carl Schletzbaum too hard, but there was no box on Robbie Wachowski. A little casual with the ball there as he tried to flip it back to a teammate. But no box. Villafane, that one went in. That would have cut it to 8. Does not go. Steve's now just trying to dribble away from guys. The aggressive defense is what they're looking for from Rimza. They don't want to give the foul if they don't have to, especially now that the shot clock's down to about 15. At this point, they're just kind of... And a drive from Stevenson is good. That's a capstone on the night for him.
That sums up the night that Joey Steves has had. Driving to the hoop in a big moment in the game, getting it to drop, and then getting to the line.
Completes the three-point play. He now has 16 points to lead all scorers. And that's been a very busy 16 points. Nothing quiet about the way he's played tonight. So at this point, up 14 points with 45 seconds to go. The insurmountable lead, no question about that. But a lot of credit goes to the Clockers for playing hard tonight. Only down 14 points compared to last night when they lost by 24 to this very same Mustangs team. Sorted some things out. Shot is no good from Yules. Norwood with the rebound, a little extra defense. Not giving up totally, trying to play a little keep away here as the shot clock is off.
So now I think what went wrong here for the Clockers, if we're going to recap the whole game in this final 10 seconds as the Mustangs close it out, hopefully. You saw too many shots getting jacked up that had no chances in the opening half, and you find yourself in a hole going into the third quarter. You make it an 8-point game, and then the Mustangs jump right back on all the balls. So, good win for the Mustangs. They wrap up their season at home as they have one non-league game left. They'll face Dedham on Tuesday at 4 in Dedham. So, as they wrap up their regular season, Ashland's getting started with theirs. So that's something that's quite interesting about this season, but luckily they get to finish out their season.
Yeah, so Norwood now 8-2 on the year, an excellent record for them. Last year they finished a little bit of a disappointing at the end, 9-11, didn't make the tournament. We talked about no tournament this year, but this team is clearly a program going in the right direction. And you like to see that, especially in a second year for a coach, getting more comfortable with their team, seeing what they're doing. I mean, Ashland a few times tonight tried to claw their way back in with their defense, and a couple of opportunities didn't go their way. They lose by 14 points tonight, 53-39. They're now 0-4 in the season, but again, this season is, as we said, just kind of getting started in the Tri-Valley League, and also they're going to be playing many more games. Takeaways on the night for the Mustangs at this point for you going into the last game?
Going into the last game, I'm thinking more long-term. You know, we talked about the younger guys who are making a difference. We had two of the top scorers for the Mustangs, both non-senior players. We have a sophomore and a junior mixing more than enough buckets in there to get this win. And as play continues this Tri-Valley season, I want to urge you to tune in to the girls and boys hockey games tomorrow right here on NCM. The girls will be facing Dedham live at 3, and I will be on the call for the boys varsity ice hockey game against the Ashland Clockers at 5 tomorrow night. Those both being at the Skating Club of Boston.
Excellent. There's a lot of great basketball to go here in terms of this season and beyond for Norwood. The girls team's doing a great job as well this year, and spring sports are right around the corner. So there's a lot of things to be excited about here, and we thank you for being with us here on this Friday night. Josh Brogadier, Joe Spadorsha. We're with Norwood Community Media. We could not do this without our crew. We thank everybody, especially our executive director, The Jack. Everyone knows him. He's the guy, runs the show, and we all appreciate all his efforts. That's and everybody else's as well. So for Joe Spadorsha, I'm Josh Brogadier. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a great night.
Have a good night, Norwood.